Hello, all. Tis me. Hey, it is Wednesday. It is Hump Day. Ooh, cut the light on. It's dark, is what it is. It's cold. Uh, it's Wednesday. It's Hump Day. Hey, William. Oh, oh. Trying to get my sage going properly before I stick it in the other room. Uh, while we're here, when is sunset?
Sunset will be at 6:50 p.m. today.
That's 5 minutes. Wow. All right. So, all right. We don't get a lot of snow here in Virginia. We just sort of get a little chillier. Where's my? Here it is. Looking for the cursor. It gets a little chillier, and then it generally goes down to like a balmy 50 degrees. It doesn't get much colder than like 45 or whatever. Uh, I used to say I made the mistake of well, not made a mistake. I swapped blizzards in New York for like hurricanes here in Virginia. All right, I'm gonna stick this in the other room now. Ah, that's what I'm talking about. I can feel all the evil spirits taking 10 minutes off just because of the sage. Um, I don't see why this is important to us. Britney Spears' father being removed from. I don't. Why is that? Why is that news? It's not news. Ice Santa makes snow for dying, cold-loving dogs so she can enjoy winter one month for a dog. I love dogs, but I mean, ugh. What we focus on doesn't make any sense in this country. Who does American monuments honor the most? War people, right? Let's look up that. Who do American monuments honor the most? A landmark study finally has answers. Review of 50,000 historical monuments across the country concludes that they misrepresent our history. No shit. Yeah, everything about America is shifty because it was started on a bad premise, right? Slavery. Not well, that started on slavery, but after the Civil War, you became a country, but you kept slavery in it. And then you saw how dark it was and how long it was dark. Why would people not make self-serving laws for themselves? And now they're all over the place. St. Louis Cardinals win streak is 17. All right, that's pretty decent. 17 wins. The dialogue has grown contentious and even violent in the wake of Charlottesville white supremacist rally in 2018, centered on statue of Jefferson and Confederate leaders that turned deadly. Debate intensified after the May 2020 death of George Floyd at the hands of the Minneapolis police sparked protests and riots across the nation. The half dozen rebel memorials on the Richmond famed Monument Avenue, for example, came down the summer of 2020. The remaining statue of the Confederate General Robert E. Lee was removed earlier this month after a legal case that went to the Virginia State Supreme Court. Thompson estimated that some 170 monuments, less than half of 1%, were dismantled in the wake of Floyd's death. So that's less than half of 1%. 170,000 monuments, 170,000, 170 monuments are half of 1%. So 340 monuments would be 1%. More than 80% of those who were removed as a result of decisions by municipalities, while the remainders were toppled by demonstrators. So 20% of this half of 1% were toppled by demonstrators. So half of 1%. 20% of the number, that's 170. All right. So that should be, I want to say 30. Less than, it's like 32. So 32 statues were toppled by people, is what you're telling me? That seems like a lot. I mean, my math is just rough, but it's probably bad. More than 80% of those were removed as a result of decisions by municipalities, while the remainders were toppled by demonstrators. The vast majority were memorials to Confederate leaders or increasingly divisive figures like Columbus. This is another thing. You can't even keep your like it's too many people in your movement doing whatever they want. It's not really a movement. Who's the leaders of this thing? Who say this is how we're going to attack this and where we're going? Um, and that's what you don't get, right? You get a lot of outrage and angry people, and then when people go, "What do you want?" 1,000 people say some shit, and some people say dumb, stupid, racist shit, and those are the people that they'll stick on TV and go, "Ah, see, this movement is for racists," even though 50,000 people march and everybody was like, "We need fairness in this, that, the other issue." They'll stick the guy on TV who's like, "We want to we don't want any cops in the country ever," kind of like bullshit statement. Like, really? You want to get rid of all cops? You sound like a moron. But they will put that guy on TV instead of saying he sounds like a moron because their business is conflict. It's not conflict resolution, it's conflict. I've got, now I want to go get that thing and stick it in here because the air is wafting that away for the most part. Uh, oh well, it's a nice windy day. When is sunset?
Sunset will be at 6:50 p.m. today.
What time is it?
It's 6:50 p.m.
When is sunset?
Sunset was at 6:50 p.m. today.
Was at. All right, so now we're already at the was at. We're not going to read all this. It was just the fat punchy punchies of the goofiness. A conservative biographer tears down Robert E. Lee, but he'd rather leave the statues up. That's another thing. Like, it's all about getting your way, right? So they'll double talk you. Oh yeah, we don't stand for this Robert E. Lee statue here and that thing, but we just think that taking it down will cost too much money. Or we believe that, it's always some lame ass nonsense to get their way. While one half is threatening you, I mean, oh yeah, we were going to cover this. I'm glad you brought this up, William. We were going to cover this. We're going to cover this. So, excuse me. Oh, no coffee today. Ugh. So, Marine Lieutenant Colonel demanded accountability in Brig. He's not, so he's in jail, but he's not charged. Why did they put him in jail? Oh, do we want to read the Military Times? The Military Times is supposed to give you a fair and balanced deal, but they are still military personnel, right? Let's double do this and do this here. August 30th, 2020. This is today. How long ago? Marine relief of viral video now says he's resigning his commission. Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel was relieved of command Friday due to now viral social media video demanding accountability from senior leadership. Released a new video Sunday in which he appears to resign his commission as a Marine Corps officer. He appears to, or did he? You say he did appear. Says he's resigning his commission. He appears to. He either did he didn't. Lieutenant Colonel Stuart P. Scheller Jr. first video released Thursday sparked controversy and support on his way to accumulating more than 800,000 views on Facebook as of Monday morning. The infantry marine and the battalion commander of the Advanced Infantry Training Battalion at the School of Entry. He was this close to being a general. He was a lieutenant colonel. Battalion at the School of Entry. He was like 2 clicks off, right? A colonel, and then a general, a brigadier. He's at East at Camp Training Battalion at the School of Entry East at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. So he made the video for his growing discontent and contempt of ineptitude at the foreign policy level. The video was released the night 13 service members, including 11 Marines, were killed in an attack at the Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul, Afghanistan. The reason so many people are upset on social media right now is not because the Marine on the battlefield let someone down, Scheller said, noting that those service members always have risen to the occasion. People are upset because their senior leadership let them down. I absolutely agree. And none of them are raising their hand and accepting accountability or saying we messed this up. That's true too. Um, But like the guy with the drone strike, right? He said, "Oh, this is on me. I'm the highest general." But the president didn't go, "Give me your resignation. You're totally fucked up." And he didn't go, "I can't, in good conscience, serve because I'm so fucked up. So I'm resigning and going into retirement." Right? So he didn't. He didn't. He talked a pretty talk, but he didn't fucking do anything. He didn't. Did I say he didn't give up his commission? He went on to after the Secretary of Defense or Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, which included the command through their ranks on the table and said, "Hey, it's a bad idea to evacuate Bagram Air Base, a strategic air base, before we evacuate everyone." Did anyone do that? And when you didn't think to do that, did everyone raise their hand and say we completely messed up? Sheller's first video came with an influx of support. "I would follow this man through the gates of hell with an MRE spoon," a Marine veteran served under Scheller in 2007 Royal Marine Corps. Okay. At the time, Scheller was a major and company commander at the Basic School 26 weeks course of Quantico, Virginia. On Facebook, one commenter wrote, "Absolutely honored and proud of you for saying what needed to be said. The course of incompetence is permanent for those young men." The post garnered 2,400 likes as of Monday. On Friday, a public Facebook post, Scheller wrote that he had been relieved for cause because of lack of trust and confidence at 1430. Marine Corps Times reached out to Scheller for comment. Marine Corps Times reached out to Scheller for comment and did not receive a response. "My chain of command is doing exactly what I would do if I were in their shoes," Scheller wrote Friday. "I appreciate the opportunities AITB command provided to all the new agencies asked for interviews. I will not be making any statement other than what's on my social media platform until I exit the Marine Corps." Friday evening, Major Jim Stenger confirmed that Scheller was relieved of command uh, by Colonel David Immel, commanding officer of the school's Infantry East, due to loss of trust and confidence in his ability to command. They lost trust and confidence in him that he wouldn't keep his fucking mouth shut while they did stupid shit. Marine Corps Times. Both of these are the same. I'm reading the same article. All right. Friday, Major Simpson confirmed that Scheller was relieved of command by Colonel David E. Emmel, commanding officer of the School of Entry East, due to loss of trust and confidence. Although Shuller initially stated that he would not be making any further statement on social media, he released a second video over the weekend in which he said he was resigning his commission from the Marine Corps. I could stay in the Marine Corps for another 3 years, but I don't think that's the path I'm on, Shuller said in his Sunday video, reportedly taken from an abandoned school bus in North Carolina. I'm resigning my commission as a United States Marine effective now. Effective now. I'm sure there are some more admins out there knows what to do. I'm sure there's some more or admin or hold it. I'm sure there's some more admin or knows what to do that. And I'll work through that. That's a weird sentence. Charlotte went on to say that he had no interest in retirement or VA benefits he could qualify for and say he'll seek accountability from senior leadership. You say that now, I think senior leadership, except accountability, would do more for service members and PT. He's going to go into politics, PTSD, and struggle with purpose and any other transparent piece of paper. While Shell's first video was well received, those who spoke for Marine Corps Times, his second video raises concerns surrounding Shell's well-being. Now they're saying that he's crazy. A Marine who served with Sheller but wishes to remain anonymous due to the video's attention said the recent death of 11 Marines, a Navy corpsman, and a soldier in Kabul, Afghanistan could be taking a toll. He's always been an infantry officer, meaning there's a 100% guarantee that he has seen Marines get blown to pieces for absolutely no reason while the top brass advance their careers with impunity, despite their many failures, said the Marine who deployed to both Iraq and Afghanistan. Despite the concern, the Marine echoed the sentiment of Marines. Despite these concerns, the Marine echoed the sentiment of the first Marine sentiment. What? That Sheller was a superb leader of Marines. Okay, I guess we can finish it off. Was a superb leader of Marines. Stuart Sheller was my commanding officer during my last deployment. He was the kind of officer who always put his Marine first, he said. Naturally, we knew there's no way he was ever going to make general with that kind of selfish leadership style. He was never going to make general. Marine Corps is aware of the video Lieutenant Colonel released on Sunday afternoon. Spokesman Captain Sam Stevens told Marine Corps Times Monday, currently the Marine Corps is taking appropriate action to ensure the safety and well-being of Lieutenant Colonel Sheller and his family. Wait, what? What's wrong with his family? As this is developing a situation, we cannot comment further at this time. Just so we can't comment on shit while shit is going on is bullshit. It's not just them who do it. Oh, I should put this up. It's not just them who do it. It's like the cops. Oh, well, we can't comment on pending litigation if you're going to sue them, or if it's up there, we can't comment on ongoing investigation. It's they just what they do whatever they want, and then they kind of play these keep away games. We can't comment. I don't know who that is. Shirley wrote an update on his LinkedIn page Monday afternoon. When I went into work this morning, I was ordered by my commanding officer to go to the hospital for a mental health screening. I was evaluated by the mental health specialist and then sent on my way. My CO is a stand-up guy. I understand why he did it, he wrote. He later said in the post, he later said in the post, third, for all my followers, I'm not going anywhere. Everyone is scared that the weight of the system is crashing down on me. But I know something you don't. It's a system that's going to break, not me. Sheller's award and decoration, according to Stevens, include the National Defense Service Medal, Meritorious Service Medal 3 times, Army Commendation Medal, Army Commendation Medal with Combat V, Iraq Campaign Medal, Navy Unit Commendation 3 times, Navy Meritorious Unit Commendation 2 times, Humanitarian Service Medal 2 times, Joint Meritorious Unit Award, NATO Medal, ISAF Afghanistan Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, Combat Action Ribbon, Sea Service Deployment Ribbon 5 times, Bronze Star Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Commendations Medal 3 times, Korean Defense Service Medal, Marine Corps Combat Instructor Ribbon, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, and the Afghan Campaign Medal. Honorary Royal Navy Officer. Why? All right. There is no. Okay, well, there you have it. But that didn't say he was put in jail. Wait, hold it. When was this? Was written 1 day ago. We just read this. This was written Really? Oh, here it is, September 28th. It doesn't say anything about. Is not in. Did we read this? Kind of recently granted for social media posts and videos demanding accountability is now in the military jail in the Marine Corps announced. He is in pretrial confinement at the Region Break for Marine Corps installation, East Camp, Virginia, North Carolina, pending Article 32 preliminary hearing. Captain Sam Stevenson, a spokesman for the Training and Education Command, said in the Tuesday statement to Marine Corps Times, the times, date, and location for that hearing has yet to be determined. However, though confined, Scheller currently faces no charge under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Stevens said, however, multiple Uniform Code of Military Justice charges are being considered. Uh, he said mean things about his bosses, so yeah, that's the charge. The general nature of the office being considered are Article 13 hearings include 88 contempt toward officials, Article 90 willful disobeying superior commissioned officer, Article 92 failure to obey lawful general order, Article 133 conduct unbecoming an officer and a gentleman. Stevenson told Marine Corps Times via email. The former infantry Marine Battalion commander of Advanced Training Battalion made first order with video change. This is not what we read. This is something totally different. Is this the same thing? This has got to be the same thing, right? Did I read the wrong thing? What's the last paragraph here? No, this is a different article. Same picture, same organization, different article. All right. Uh, he faces no charges. Failure to obey general order. Article 130, conduct unbecoming an officer and a gentleman. With all the racists you have in the fucking military. Excuse me. The former infantry marine and battalion commander of the Advanced Infantry Training Battalion at the School of Entry East in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, first made waves August 26th with a video that went viral showing his growing discontent and contempt of ineptitude at the foreign policy level. The video was released that night. 13 service members, including 11 Marines, were killed in an attack at the Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul. On August 27th, he was fired. He continued posting social media videos and posts to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Scheller confinement follows Saturday Facebook post. The Facebook post, according to a statement sent to Marine Corps Times by Scheller's parents. His what? Scheller's confinement follows Saturday's Facebook post. The Facebook post, according to a statement sent to Marine Corps Times by Scheller's parents, broke a gag order which required Scheller to remain silent. The Marine Corps declined to comment on the specific event that led to Scheller's confinement. One of Scheller's 1,400 words weekend Facebook post, 1,400 words weekend service post criticized politician leaders such as former President Barack Obama, George W. Bush, Donald Trump, along with military leaders including General George Mattis, General David Petraeus, General Michael Flynn. Additionally, it closed with Scheller seemingly asking to be confined. Colonel Emma, please have the MPs waiting for me at 0800 on Monday. I will be ready for jail. Shanda ended his post. Scheller's family issued a statement on Monday, which they called on the military to support their son. Captain Stuart Scheller Sr. stated that Stuart Scheller's command seemed to be concerned, but the command does not appear to have the tools to support him, and incarceration appears to be their only solution. All our son did was ask a question that everyone was asking themselves, but too scared to speak out loud, Scheller parents wrote. He doesn't deserve this treatment. The Pipe Hitter Foundation announced Wednesday that it is assisting Scheller in both his pending legal fight and his transition out of the Marine Corps. The founding initially was founded by the family of former Navy SEAL Eddie Gallagher, after Gallagher was arrested and charged with war crimes in 2018. Yeah, it's a fucking shit show. He's in jail. Charges are pending. We'll come up with something. I mean, Marine officer pays price for blasting Biden on backroom. Yeah, see, they love you until you disagree with them, and then it's your ass. Who we? Is it dark? Lord. Wait, was that not up? I no, I read it, but I didn't put it up. Right there, you go. Oi. So, I mean, that's the kind of. Let's tilt this. Let's tilt this here. Let's close this. That's the kind of stuff that you can be guaranteed here in this grand, fantastic society. Um, do you support the military or not? You know, they want you to support the military, right? Because that's another controlling mechanism of you. But then people in the military go, what the hell is going on around here? Then all of a sudden, they got to get rid of that person because that person is crazy and he doesn't believe in what we're doing. Right? It's the environment is so shady. It really is. Hmm. Let's see what else. But yeah, that Sheller thing is unfolding. Where is he from? He's from North Carolina. Well, he's stationed in North Carolina. Uh, it's depressing. Opinion: women are burned out. Men, do your part. What the fuck are you talking about? Opinion: whose stupid opinion is this? Jill Filipovic. Women are burned out. Men, do your part. You're assuming a lot. The arrogance of this statement implies that men aren't doing their part. I would like to remind you that people aren't getting married, and yeah, Jill, editors note, Jill Philippic is a journalist based in New York and author of the book, Okay, Boomer, Let's Talk, How My Generation Got Left Behind. Follow her on Twitter. The opinions expressed in this comment are solely her own. No, but you stand for it because you stick it in the paper. A new survey of 65,000 U.S. workers from McKinsey and Lynn and Org found that a whopping one-third of women say they are considered quitting their jobs or reducing their hours. Female workers are more likely to say that they were burned out, and more of them were discouraged now that in the early they were in the early shocking month of the pandemic. How is this on men? How is this on men? Look, this is the thing, modern ladies. This is America. You can drive. You, women can't do that in Iraq or Afghanistan, right? You can have babies without husbands and not be fucking run out of town and any of this shit like any of these other countries. You have all this agency and you're still crying about the shit you can't do. This is a grab, right? Dead to Me season 3. Yep. Ooh, this is a nice painting. I gotta tell you, man, the New Yorker's covers are just brilliant. They're always nice art. Really, really are. Really good. Very weird. Why is everyone always selling me sex? And when I go, ooh, everybody goes, you're disgusting. But you're selling sex every place, right? You may not somebody may not want it every day, but if you sell it every day for a lifetime, somebody will eventually go, okay, I'll buy some of that. And then all of a sudden it's like, how dare you? You're disrespectful of women. I'm disrespectful of women? That lady's twerking right there. She's disrespectful of herself. Oh no, she's a modern woman. Okay. Look, all these groups telling you that the problem with the society is the men. You better look at who's doing the talking and from what corner they're doing the talking. Because a lot of people are just ridiculous. Amazon settled with employees allegedly fired for criticizing working conditions. There's one to read. Is this a black guy that they fired? Oh, this is only two paragraphs. Amazon Inc. has reached a settlement with two former employees who said they were terminated last year after they criticized the working condition at the e-commerce giant warehouse. CNBC reported Wednesday the terms of the settlement were not immediately disclosed, according to reports, which cited an announcement from the National Labor Relations Board, Lawyer John Giannopoulos. Amazon and National Labor Relations Board were not immediately available for comment. Huh. It's brutal. I think all these commercials with happy trying to tell you how we are all together in this, those commercials are so sinister because none of these companies seem to be anything like that, right? They seem to want to charge you the most for the shoddiest shit. And when it breaks, not honor their end of this agreement or bargain or whatever we're calling it. Like we said, right? You see these guys selling you cars. The cars are zipping around the roads and driving real fast. And if you did that, you'd be in jail. So even the way they sell you stuff isn't. Prince William, not Charles, is a new leader of the monarchy. Royal. It's all these people who love this family writing happy royalty books, and all these weak Americans who can't wait, who love the British like royal family. They love Europe. It's all very weird. Hmm. So it looks like Letitia James is going to run for governor of New York. Okay. Exclusive. Pakistani leader Imran Khan says Taliban can be America's partner for peace. You are a fool, America, if you get into the bed with Taliban after 20 years of war and car car bombings and all this sinister shit. You stand for nothing if you do that. At this point, they're going to start eating each other because they've got no money, no one's trading with them, and let it be. Let them be governed so badly that the people of Afghanistan have to do something about them. Do something or freaking die, essentially. Who else is going in there to rescue you? That was a one-handed quote. That's what that was. It should be this. Is this even a thing? This is not a thing. Um, Dog the Bounty Hunter shopping a new TV series while he chases. Yeah, see, people just don't go away. He should go away. I don't really care about celebrities, but why do they think he would be bad for the investigation? As Doug the Bounty Hunter makes his way back in the news by chasing down Brian Laundry, the person of interest after his fiancee Gabby Petito was found dead in Wyoming. He's also planning his return to TV. But he's a racist, so you can just take a little time off, come back and go, hey, I took a shot for my racism. I expect to be back on TV. And they're going to put him back on TV. The producer behind WeTV's Marriage Boot Camp and Mama June from Not to Hot and TBS Rat in the Kitchen. There was a show called Rat in the Kitchen, and TBS is Rat in the Kitchen. All right, hold on. I'm going to get back to this. There was a show called Rat in the Kitchen. That's disgusting. What was it about? There's a song named after it. Let's click on the Wikipedia. by UB40. I don't want to look up the lyrics. I thought this was a TV show. Here's a TV show. What is it about, though? Natasha Leggero, she's, first of all, she's not funny. She's supposed to be a comedian, but she's not funny. And I always wonder how comedians who are not funny staying around. Natasha Leggero to host Who Done It cooking format. A Who Done It cooking? So I make you a sandwich and you have to guess if I made it or the person next to me made it. Is that what's going on here? A buzzy British entertainment format that describes as a cross between The Masked Singer and Hell's Kitchen is the latest show to cross the pond. The U.S. version of Rat in the Kitchen. Comedian is Natasha Leggero is the host of 10-part series for Warner Media back network with celebrity chef Ludo Lefebvre as judge. Lefebvre Febvre BVRE Bevre Lefebvre as judge. The show is produced in different and was divided by. The series follows a group of cooks competing to win a cash prize. Everybody's competing to win a cash prize across a series of challenges. Okay, this so far it sounds like everything else. However, all the while, one of them is trying to sabotage their efforts in the kitchen. Rat in the kitchen. Okay, I get it. So, a rat is supposed to be somebody who tells on you. Which this should be called a mole in the kitchen, because a mole is someone you don't know who's in your group who's undoing you from within. Tell you, words mean shit, people. Rat in the kitchen. Maybe rat means something different in England, but it should be a mole in the kitchen if it's anything. And there was a show, I want to say 10 years ago, that was really good. And it was called The Mole. And it was about a whole bunch of people that he put in the same kind of thing. And one guy, they had to figure, but they all knew that there was a mole. And they had to figure out who the mole was, who was undoing them. And it was good. But this is, you know, I'm not a fan of reality TV shows. It is a whodunit cooking format and a game of high stakes cat and mouse where viewers get to play detective. In each episode, a mix of professional chefs and home cooks compete in a series of cooking challenges, earning cash in the bank for every dish that impressive chef Ludo. But they'll have to avert the meddling of an undercover mole, the rat. Undercover mole, the rat. Why don't you just call him the mole? Oh God, people are so nonsensical sometimes. Ugh. All right. Determined undercover mole, the rat, determined to sabotage the dishes and undermine their chance at victory. The stakes, if the rat avoids detection, he or she wins big, right? But if found out, the rat will have to hunt for cheddar elsewhere. What does that mean? That means he's thrown out. Did you get another rat? Does everybody split the money if you know who the rat is? Are there more than one rat? I've got questions. The project was first unveiled in UK screening last February before the coronavirus pandemic ravaged the US, ravaged the UK, or the US. What? The project was first unveiled at the UK screening last February, comma, before the coronavirus pandemic ravaged the UK or US. Glenn Hugel, who runs Possessed TV and who plays the banker on the UK version of Deal or No Deal, pitched it to the international broadcasters at the event. This is a weird sentence. To illustrate the idea, Huggins played a clip from Hell's Kitchen, which showed a cook trashing some perfectly edible monkey fish because she thought it was unsafe to consume. He asked the audience to look at the clip through the lens of a rat in the kitchen and consider whether the chef had made a genuine mistake or if she is the saboteur. The BBC also developed the project with a pilot shot last year. Rat in the Kitchen is executive produced by blah, 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 blah. American Thinking with the front is distributed internationally. Rat in the Kitchen is far more clever format we've ever heard of, Corin. Is by far one of the most clever formats you've ever heard of. Here's the thing about cooking. Everybody has their own area to cook. So if you're in my area, I'm thinking you're the mole. If you come home and say you need to borrow something, I will hand it to you. I don't really understand. But then again, I'm a weirdo. People watch anything and everything, and I don't. Um, I ask a lot of questions, and I find that people ask. I have a problem with S's. People ask very few questions, and I ask a lot. Man, it is dark. Ooh-wee, at 7:25. I'm telling you. Do I want to get something? I don't want to get a beer. My stomach hurts. I don't want coffee. Ice water it is. What's for dinner tonight? I could go for just a salad. I don't have anything here to make a salad. Good Lord. I'm out of water and ice. All right, this will be enough to get me through the evening. I think I left you more than once. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a strong beat to step to. Think of how many week shows you slept through. Time's up. I'm sorry I kept you. Thinking of this, you keep repeating your miss, the rhymes of the microphone so low with. So you sit by the radio, hands on the dial soon as you hear it. Pump up the volume. All right, so here we go. Why do we care about Dog the Bounty Hunter? Of course, is Dwayne Dog Chapman, who starred in A&E's Dog the Bounty Hunter for 8 seasons. Later, Chapman and his wife Beth starred in the CMT series Dog and Beth on the Hunt, which ran for 2 years. That's 10 years. Chronicled Beth Chapman's cancer diagnosis in 2017. Special Dog and Beth fight for their lives. Didn't she divorce him for cheating and some shit? And then they got back because the TV money was good, and then she died of cancer, which is sad. I don't normally deal with celebrities, but I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong about this. All right, let's get the. Chapman was Denver. For some reason, the nightclub stripper. Oh, she was a stripper. How convenient. Chapman was born in Denver, Colorado. One of 5 children born to Gary Smith and Gary L. Smith, a Brock's candy salesman. He sold candy for a living. She trained as both a gymnast and ice skater for some time. She was a nightclub stripper, waitress, and clerk. Chapman spent the majority of her early days in Colorado before moving to Honolulu to be with her future husband, Dwayne Chapman. Yeah, I'd get the fuck out of Colorado and go live in Hawaii too, whom she married in 2006. All right, so she's born in 67. Chapman starred in reality television alongside her husband, most likely Dog the Bounty Hunter. Was it? She was married twice, 91 to 93. Yeah. People seriously stop getting married and getting divorced and getting married again and getting divorced. It says you don't take it seriously. Chapman starred in a reality television show alongside her husband, Dwayne Chapman, most likely Dog the Bounty Hunter, which already was released in 2004 and lasted 8 seasons until 2012. Chapman's final series was Dog's Most Wanted, which was filmed in 2019. She died while the show was being produced. Dog's Most Wanted features Beth getting the news of her terminal cancer and her fight with it over the time before her death. The final episode is dedicated to her memory. Stage 2 throat cancer. Oh, don't do that. Oh. In September 2017, initially went into remission. However, the disease later spread to her lungs. In early 2019, Chapman began filming their new show, Dog Most Wanted, on June 22nd. During production, she was hospitalized and placed in a medically induced coma at the Queens Medical Center in Honolulu. Why the Queens, not the president, the Queens? Okay, there's a lot of Queen stuff. Down here, everything is named after like Lord this and yeah, like Queen Victoria's Lane. I'm like, this is Virginia. Why is all these? Well, it is what it is. Where she later died from complications of the illness on June. According to her death certificate, her ashes were scattered at sea. In the final episode, Dog Wanted, the event was shown along with footage from her memorial service in Hawaii. Oh, all right. There you go. She was a stripper. Trying to see. Oh, here she is. I guess stay together. All right, that's sad. Cancer's an ugly and mean bitch, and sadly, you don't have to be a smoker. I mean, she was a smoker, but you don't have to be a smoker to get it. I excuse me. I am an ex-smoker. I smoked for 17 years, and I quit 20 years ago. Um, ain't had a cigarette since, but that's one of the things you have to do, right? If you smoke, I, if you do, you should look to quit. You should seriously look to quit. Save the money. You know they're poisoning you, right? So do something else with the money. I began to get mad that I was participating in my own death, and I was paying for it, and I knew that tobacco companies were lying to me. Uh, but that's me. I'm sort of willful in this weird way, and I was like, "Fuck these people," and I made it my mission to quit smoking. I haven't gone back. I don't begrudge or hate anybody who smokes. I know a lot of people who smoke. I hang out with them. The cigarette smoke doesn't bother me. It doesn't give me what is it, cravings. Um, so, but I do tell them, I really wish you, I mean, especially if you retire, you need to quit smoking. The whole point is to make them pay you forever, right? Um, why would you retire and then take up heroin and all this other shit that's just going to shorten your time on the planet? Uh, yeah, cancer is ugly. Get out there and walk a little bit. What, a television show lasts a half an hour? You can walk a half an hour every day. Good for your lungs. This whole thing with this coronavirus that has me wigged out is my smoking history. That freaks me out. But I also am worried about, because I have a few heavy people in my family. I'm also worried about um, the weight, because a lot of people, the weight is the problem. Then you got to roll them over on their stomach to to get relief so they can breathe, right? It's just, and people are talking about it's going down. And I said this yesterday, and then someone said something that made me go, huh, that is a good point. He said, it's going down, and it's down by a third, right? Which is good, which is a lot. But he also said, but I remember what happened last year. And I went, huh. First they were saying the summer heat's going to kill it. Then they were saying the winter cold is going to kill it. And I was like, huh. And it survived the winter. So now I'm like, oh man. So all right, our numbers are down, which is good, but you still have to take precautions and be careful. I mean, here's the thing: this brown laundry guy, whatever his name is, he left his wallet and all his shit at his parents' house, which makes sense. The first thing they can do is track your wallet and your stuff, and that's what's gonna happen. So if his parents helped him out, they had to give him money, and they had to give him more than $50 to get out of Dodge, right? They had to go here. Here's $7,000 for you to fucking, you know what I mean? Um, and that's not gonna get you far. It really isn't. Couple of meals, not a couple of meals, but like you can eat for a few months, right? If you're staying in hotels, first of all, everybody's looking for you. Your face is all over TV, right? So where are you going? Where are you staying? I think he fed himself to the alligators. I think his had one night with his family. They talk about they went out to dinner or some shit. Uh, but remember, there was a guy who killed that girl in the Caribbean, and his father was a judge, right? That dude killed two girls, by the way. He's now in jail in Peru. Uh, and then after he got not like they didn't convict him. Like it was him and two native boys. They dropped charges of all of them. Then the father died of a massive heart attack like 6 months later. So it was him and the mother. Then he went to Peru and killed the girl and tried to escape the country. And they caught him at the airport. And now America said once he's done doing his 25 years there, we want him here so he can do his 25 years here, right? And I think of his mother. I was like, this is look at you decimated your family with this bullshit. You raised an arrogant person, an arrogant and murderous boy who hurts women. What kind of woman does that? Who doesn't take that out or at least address it with their son? I mean, what lady is for ladies being treated poorly, right? Much. I mean, your son. I say this all the time. If you're a lady and you raise a son who hates women, what did you do to that boy? Right? Did you just let him do whatever he want and not raise him, or did you torture him and now he hates women? Right? Because I say it all the time, you can get to the same space from two different routes. Right? We could walk. I just told this to my ex girlfriend. We could walk and then face the ocean, and we're both staring here with the same view of the ocean, but we got there two different ways. Right? So saying because she was always going on about really her way was the right way, and I was an idiot for not doing it her way. And it got to be a little fucking annoying, right? And I don't like to yell at people, but I've got a certain top, like I got a long fuse, but when my fuse is gone, my fuse is gone. And I loved her, I did, but she was a lot to take. Um, just because she was highly educated and this is the way I see it, so I must be right. And I was like, nope, nope. So yeah, ladies, in a land where there are less fathers in these houses, I guess you want it that way. You have an obligation to make your kids formidable, right? But you can't just be leaving them in front of TVs and having them blame everybody for their issues, right? We said yesterday everybody wants to blame the cops, and I was like, I didn't see any cops in that neighborhood selling drugs, shooting up the joint, being ridiculous, right? Sometimes what your enemy is right about what they say about you. There's a black on black crime issue in the community. Instead of saying, "Oh, that's racist for saying that," why don't you solve the fucking problem? And the problem is, you're a good person, but there's all these bad people in gangs and shit. How are you going to solve it? Who you going to make address it? And if you're not going to care about it when the neighborhood is bad and there are muggings and craziness, you just can't blame white society. And trust me, there's enough to blame white society for, but this is not one of them. Whew, 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 whew. Man, it's cold in here. I've got a hoodie on. Where's that? That Yep, it is cold. I need to get one of those. My boy had one where one of those like barometer things where it tells you the dew point and the moisture, and it go like it tells you how much humidity is in the air. Oh, being a hippie. Being a hippie is not easy. Okay, let's cut that out before we set the whole joint on ablaze. Uh, dropping a lot of. See, this whole. I prefer hardwood floors. Uh, I mean, I walk around barefoot. It's nice to walk around barefoot on carpet, but I prefer hardwood floors. They used to hardwood floors used to be the thing up until I want to say the mid '80s. People carpeting over hardwood floors. All right. I mean, wood is a thing, man. It lasts almost forever, and now everything is just plywood and bullshit. IKEA makes bullshit furniture. This table is bullshit. But this, why I have my computer, is an actual furniture. It's actual table made like in the 50s, maybe 60s, for the New York City Board of Education, and it holds up. Pretty good flame we got going on here. All right, let me put this back. All right. Mm, whole place is gray. So remember, love is important. Uh, the point of marriage isn't being lonely. The point of it is what? Family, right? Everybody hates family. Everybody hates children. Everybody hates their siblings and their neighbors. Not their neighbors, but their cousins. I'm like, I don't get it. Why? I think it's a way to be greedy. I have more stuff if I don't have kids. And I point out this, look, one kid is a blessing, but it's also a tragedy, right? There were five of us. If I fell out the window and broke my neck and died, my mother had four other children to comfort her and to remember me and to go on and you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to me. I just think people have been told that family and relationships are bullshit. And what you really want to do is be like the people on TV who are about nothing. But yeah, family's important, guys. I'm pro family. You should be pro family. It was a slow day. Other than that, Dog the Bounty Hunter. Excuse me. Facing anxiety. And excuse me. Everybody's telling you all this. I'm I have mental illness. I'm stressed. I have anxiety. Uh, I'm doing my truth. It's like it's all this stuff that they give you pills for, right? When a lot of it you can, for lack of a better term, outrun, right? You can take up jogging, and that will cure your depression, right? And it'll physically transform yourself. But the idea of just take pills for everything is sort of crazy. YouTube is banning all content that spreads vaccine misinformation. Mm. Who says it's misinformation though? YouTube. Okay. Fort Worth police arrest man they say killed and dismembered 3 people. What the ever loving fuck? Who makes these people? They're out in the world. They're all over the place. Keep your eyes open. Sarah Everhart killer kidnapped her using fake police warrant. Yeah, so apparently some policemen killed the girl in England, and it's all the talk over there. Like this Gabby Patilio is the talk over here. It's just dark. It's dark. Ex-police officer who kidnapped, raped, and murdered Sarah Everhart. I mean, why? Why? I mean, I guess people get obsessed with things and people, and right. So, but when you get obsessed with another human being, what do you do? I don't know what I mean. What do we us? What do the community do when it comes to their attention? Before it gets to be this dark, this is fucking dismal, right? I mean, back in the olden times, you'd be banned, right? They would outright kill you. You had to go into the woods and walk around by yourself. That's how you got crazy people. But it was also, a time of superstition, so they could easily have said you did something. But this shit is in the human animal. Um, Surely there can be a way to fix it before it gets to be so dark. And I think a lot of these people are given a pass, right? Given a benefit, like they do stuff and they do stuff, and people see it but ignore it, or see it, they don't want to have it, or and then before you know it, it gets it's because look, the longer you do something, you're gonna get better at it. Said that with the guitar, right? So if you start out robbing people or being dark and crude to people at like 10, 11, and 12, by the time you're 35, you're gonna be fucking good at it. You put 20 years of work in. I always thought, look, if your kid is a hot fucking mess, that's on you. The government should be asking you questions. And the government only ever does that to people that it hates. Like the poor, the poorest families will get their kids thrown into like, the meat grinder. But a lot of rich people do some evil shit. I mean, that whole R. Kelly thing, I was like, some of the stuff they said um, they had proof of, because I'm always about the proof. It's just crazy that he did that. It really is. And then the racketeering was him trying to like bribe the girl and get at the girl for her not to testify. The cover up is always worse than the crime, they say. So if I was an asshole and stole your hubcap, which is only $10, and then a cop starts showing up going, "Hey, did you?" And I tell all y'all, don't say anything. That's words because that's tampering, right? So my bullshit misdemeanor found out now goes to 20 counts of tampering with people who was at this party, right? Let's say it's a party, and let's say I didn't steal a hubcap. I threatened somebody like with a gun. They're like, don't tell him. I didn't shoot him. I mean, that's still, it's like it's menacing. You pull out a gun, you menace somebody with it. That's a misdemeanor, I think, in most places. But now they're trying to conduct an investigation. Then you tell everybody that don't say anything. I called everybody. I give you money. I did it, right? That's the cover up. And the cover up is always worse. So now the cover up is going to get you 25 years. But whatever. It is what it is. Poor R. Kelly, a victim of his own bullshit. And there is that Bible saying, right? The idea, huh? You know what? The more I looked at, I'm cruising back into a gaming phase. I may start gaming sooner rather than later. Uh, I think I'm going to do that on Twitch though. So I'll put up a bulletin here, and you can come get me if you're interested. Um, but we're still going to be doing it every day, 1,000 days, whether we're here, there, or everywhere, because we're streaming to both locations, as we always do. Um, it's weird because when I talk, I feel like I'm talking to the Haps community, even as I'm broadcasting on the YouTube and the Twitch community, because most of my interaction on is with the Haps community. Um, it's amazing. Uh, so then you sort of fall into this kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. But remember, we kicked this off here, um, to learn to play guitar. Something that I read just clicked in my head about the guitar. So some updates on my guitar playing. So I was told, right? Let's see if we can get this. This is how I started playing the G, right? And I got really good at it. Like all the notes are clear, right? Then I was told halfway through that to play it with move it up, right? Uh, for my pinky. So instead of my ring finger, put my ring finger on the fourth uh, fret of the B string and put my pinky finger on the fourth fret of the low E string. Low is this the low high E string. I'm always talking low and high as in position, but I should be talking high and low as in tone. So this is my low. This is my high. Because this takes me to my D. I'm still having trouble with my C's though. So then I just stopped and I just started working on my strumming, which was 2 days ago. Uh, and I still have the same problem with my strumming. My strumming is still butt with two T's. And I still can't follow the metronome. It's really hard to do. So my friend told me after I've been reading all this stuff and all these theories, I was getting lost in modes, and between you, me, and the wallpaper, I still like I think I'm beginning to lose some of the stuff that I was uh, containing. Uh, I'm beginning to lose some of the stuff that I was that I had contained inside my old brain pan here. So I have to come up with a, and then my buddy said, just learn songs. So that might be what I do. I'll try and learn a song and then learn music through that song in particular. So maybe I'll read it, right, why they wrote it, da 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 da, learn to play it, and then read about, because this is what I know. I know that love songs, love songs, slow songs, love songs, feeling songs are written in minors, right? I know 1 4 5 uh and 2 3 6 uh are, well, okay, Roman numerals 1 4 5, when you can figure out like chord progression, I think this is. So chord progression, I'm just kind of like, what? Uh, but I gotta tell you, I think these are all things you pick up, right? I saw this thing playing the guitar. You're gonna have some setbacks, and since I'm teaching it myself, let's put this over here. I I've made some. I had to erase some stuff that I taught myself, like that hand thing, the finger thing. I'm gonna have to muscle through the metronome, right? But this is what it is. It's learning something new, right? I'm sort of fucking around with trying to see if I might be able to start doing math, because I've always been bad at math, but math is a great thing. Uh, it teaches you how to. I have to realize this late. It teaches you how to think in a different way. Just like if you read a lot, that teaches you how to think in a different way. Music, I think, rewires your brain, teaches you how to think. But music is sort of well, music and math go together. But math can go with art as well, right? And as an artsy person, I think in a certain type of way. Uh, I would say I'm fairly liberal minded, but I would also say that I'm not stupid. Some of this liberal shit is ridiculous, and I'm not for it. Um, I think it's self serving. There was a story about the generals and how, hold it, can I find it? Not the generals, the judges, right? That's the story I wanted to. Judges broke the law by ruling on cases that they had a financial stake in. We can stop this. All right. Well, let's put this here. And this is where our problems are, right? Like, so I'm sitting over here saying it's not um just the cops, right, who can do whatever they want and no one checks on them. It's also the judges, and it's on both sides. It's it's the it's the prosecutors and some of the unfair stuff they do, right? As well as these judges and some of the unfair stuff they do uh, in in courtrooms that affect people's lives, right? So that's the criminal element of it. But also in the uh, what is it called? They're not criminal, civil. Uh, they've taken fortunes from people and given it to the. I mean, with these rulings, it's just, do we even look at this? They should. I mean, they broke the law, and now they're going, oh, my mistake. I'll keep an eye for. But no one would do that in your court. You they would throw these people in jail. I mean, this is the thing, man. Do we want to read it? It's 7 minutes. I love the fact that sometimes They tell you how long it should take to read this. Uh, Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal. All right. We've been streaming for an hour and 15 minutes. We're going to read this. First of all, I want to congratulate whoever did the artwork. So, art, let me get me out of here. This artwork is friggin' awesome. Look, there goes the guitar. Look at this. This is some. Let's. Oh, nothing's getting bigger. The pictures. Really, guys. Really. Look at this work. All right, we have to shut this down because there were more of them. Weren't there more of them? This is some good work. Some really beautiful work. Illustration art. Sorry, illustration art. There, Art Lean for the Wall Street Journal. Art Lean, you are fucking magnificent. You really are. Let's look up some more of your work. Court Tartist. Oh, this is his website. I mean, these guys should never go out of style. I'm having trouble already. Look at this. Look at this art. Look at how good it's watercolor, but God, this guy is so good. It's so simple. It's so pretty. It's so cartoonish, but also, oh, wow. It's simple. It's beautiful. Look, two tones for the shirt, right? I wonder how fast he works. Yeah, these guys all know the secrets. Wow. Fine touches in the background, usually, right? So this is essentially all white, just like that picture in a window. This one is a few colors, but okay. This is all white with a window. You know what I mean? Very, very simple. Look at that. This guy is a genius. Art Lean, you fucking glorious bastard. Wow. It makes me his this kind of art makes me want to pick up a pen again. Wow. This one is really great. This one is really good. In the world of cameras, I don't see why we don't have cameras in more places. Yeah. These people were going to take over America. These people. This is your insurrection? These people? Are you serious? It wasn't a fucking insurrection. It was a riot. Wow. Arlene. A Wall Street Journal investigation finds 131 federal judges unlawfully ruled in cases involving companies in which they or their families held shares. A Wall Street Journal investigation found that federal judges around the nation have violated U.S. law and judicial ethics by overseeing nearly 700 court cases involving companies in which they or their family own stock. The rich get richer. As a result of the journal reporting, judges in more than 300 cases have notified courts that they presided in the lawsuit improperly and that the cases are eligible to be reopened. No, you only notified your bosses after you got found out, right? Is that right? Is that not right? In the most expensive investigation of judicial stockholding in I'm leaning out of frame, aren't I? Uh, as a result of the journal reporting, judges in more than 300 cases have notified courts that they presided in lawsuits improperly and that the cases are eligible to be reopened. How many judges are we talking about? In the most expensive investigation of judicial stock holdings in the U.S., the journal revealed that 131 federal judges improperly heard 685 cases between 2010 and 2018 in which they or their family members owned shares of a company that were plaintiffs or defendants in the litigation. Two of the judges sat on the appellate court. The other 129 were district judges, also called trial judges. The journal's review examined civil cases. About two-thirds of the federal judges disclosed holdings of individual stocks, and nearly one of every five of those who did improperly heard at least one case involving a company in which they or their families owned a stake. What's the law? Nothing bars judges from owning stock. But in 1974, federal law prohibits any ownership of a legal or equitable interest, however small, in a party to a case before a judge. Wow. They broke the law. What happens now? What happens now? These are the people who can't wait to tell you what a piece of shit you are for being in their courtroom, and I should throw the book at you. But you know what? I'm going to give you a break with only 9 years for jaywalking. And you can't go 9 years because then he'll arbitrarily make it 109 years. It really is quite amazing. No matter how small, the law and the judicial conferences of the U.S. Federal Court of policy-making bodies require judges to avoid even the appearance of a conflict. The ban on holding the ban on holding even a single share of a company while presiding in a case involving the firm means judges must be vigilant about their assets, including informing themselves about stockholders of spouses and minor children. Minor children, okay, right? Because your children don't handle their finances, but somebody could have gave them stock, and you would know it. Your older children are adults; they can do what they want. Okay, that makes sense. A vision about the assets, informing themselves about stocks of their spouses. So even if your spouse and you didn't, the judge conference requires court to use conflict checking computer software to help identify cases where judges should bow out. Judges need to disqualify themselves from cases involving banks where they have mortgages or checking or savings accounts, nor do they need to recuse members of any mutual fund holdings. How pervasive is the problem? The journal found judges failing to disqualify themselves as required in every region of the country. They included judges appointed by nearly every president from Lyndon Johnson to Donald Trump. There are judges still out there who were, oh, that's right, it's a lifetime appointment to like, oh my God. It's so, America needs a full wash down. Where there were contested motions in cases involving companies the judge had a financial stake in, two or three of their rulings on the motions were in favor of those companies. Where there were contested, sorry, where there were contested motions in cases involving companies the company's judges had a financial stake in. 2 out of 3 of their rulings on the motions were in favor of those companies. So I own stock in Walt Disney, and 2 out of 3 times I rule in favor of Walt Disney, right? And whoever is suing Walt Disney for, let's say, stealing Mickey Mouse from me, right? And I've got 100 years of evidence that it was stolen. You stand to lose a lot because Walt Disney stands to lose a lot. So you rule in their favor, and your stock is still good. So I get why you can't do this. 2 out of the 3 rulings motions were in favor of those companies. Dozens of judges or their families not only owned shares in companies in their courtroom, but traded the shares while the judges were presiding in the cases. They knew what was going on. Legal experts said the activity the jury found amounts to a perversive disregard for the judicial conflict of interest law. Indiana University law professor Charles Gay, Gehy, said that in isolation, a violation could be viewed as an oversight. But the journal's overall finding raised a more systemic problem of judges chronically neglecting their duty to disqualify in such cases. Fire them, get rid of them. See, I told you the ruler is only for people like us down here who make less than like 90 grand a year. And that's the majority of people, the fucking majority of people. Um, unless you commit like some violence, right? And then some people can commit violence, but their bar goes higher up, right? I'll overlook this violence because you're here. Wow, doesn't the judges, law professor said, how did the Wall Street Journal do it? The journal reviewed hundreds of financial disclosure forms filed annually from 2010 to 2018 with the Administration's Office of the U.S. Courts. The form filled by federal, trial, and appellate judges aren't online. The journal used the court's data as obtained and digitized by the Free Law Project, a nonpartisan legal research outfit. Yeah, a lot of this shit is now being online because, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying lawyers are bad. I'm just saying if you're a bad guy and you're a lawyer or a judge, you can do a lot of fucking damage, right? So these lawyers are great. They're putting all this legal stuff online so you and I can read it. It's an open society. This is what we want, right? But these people, will they ever get to be congressmen and senators and look out for us, or will they do that and then get corrupted? You know what I'm saying? You should still always look at these people. Then the journal compared judge stock holdings to tens of thousands of court documents findings, 685 violations. Scholars who reviewed the journal's analysis said its methodology was sound. What have the judges said? Judges offer a variety of explanations for the violations. Some blame court clerks. Some said there are lists of companies to avoid had misspellings that forward the conflict screening software. Some said they had only nominal roles in the cases such as confirming settlements, that there is no legal exemption for such roles. Some judges misunderstood the law, saying erroneously that they didn't have to recuse themselves because their stocks were held in accounts run by professional money managers. One judge who had 36 recusal violations after initially saying he never really paid much attention to his stock holdings and wasn't familiar with the ethics law, told the journal, I am embarrassed that I did not properly understand and apply the stock ownership rule. What about the fallout? Yeah, what happened to these people? After being alerted to the violations, the journal, 57 judges had directed court clerks as of September 29th, which was yesterday. I'm sorry, which is today. Uh, good Lord, which is today, to notify parties in 345 lawsuits that they should have disqualified themselves and that the cases could be reopened. Wow. So now somebody's got to get another lawyer and fight this again. What about one of those cases was violation in the New York federal court involving ExxonMobil Corp. Lawyers for the losing party that had sued a unit of the oil company now asked an appellate court to toss out that ruling and order a review by a new judge because of the inevitable appearance of partiality that results from the unfortunate circumstances. The county clerk said the judge's Exxon holding didn't have a bearing on his ruling in favor of the company. In another case in Alabama, in an Alabama federal court, a judge ruled against two homeowners in a foreclosure case against Wells Fargo Company. The judge had bought Wells Fargo stock about 2 weeks after receiving the case. This is outrageous, one of the homeowners said, who told the judge said when told the judge held bank shares. How am I supposed to know who owns stock in Wells Fargo? The homeowner asked the court to reopen the case. The court has assigned a new judge to their suit. The court clerk said the judge's stockholding didn't affect her decision in the case. The court clerk said that. Yeah. What can you do in your case? If a judge notifies a county clerk of recusal violations, parties have the option to ask the court to rehear the case with a different judge. If you have a pending case involving a company, you can ask your lawyer to contact the administrative office of the U.S. courts for the latest financial disclosure form of judges to determine whether he or she has any conflict or violation. But disclosures are filed only annually. If anyone requests to see judges' financial disclosures, the judge are told to ask. The judges are told to ask. If anyone requests to see judges' financial disclosures, the judges are told the judges are told who asked. Okay, that makes sense too. Some lawyers say this creates a disincentive for them to ask. Oh, they're saying it should be anonymous. A disincentive for them to ask out of concern about annoying judges in whose courtrooms they frequently appear. Wow. My very experienced corporate litigation lawyers told me that behind the false mistakes or of how honest and transparent front judge are, very ugly truth. Hardly the cases. Yeah, I mean, once you know nobody looks at you, you become rotten, and that's a problem, right? And not all of them, but I mean, you've seen some of the goofy nonsense that people get up to when nobody questions them. And I think lawyers are one of these things. And then cops know it, so they do all kind of wild things. And now with the help of cameras everywhere, it's the curtain is pulled back of what's been going on forever. I mean, I watched this story about this guy, a documentary about a soldier coming home from World War II, and they blinded him. Like a racist sheriff pulled him off the bus he was driving on. He just left the war zone, pulled him off the bus he was riding on, and gouged his eyes out. And nothing ever happened to the sheriff. Right? Judge was like, "Nah, that's fine, that's cool." So I mean, by the way, that giant helicopter you heard going over was a military helicopter. Isaac Wood Jr., 1946. Look at this. I mean, it's just a hatred. He just got home from the war. Was a decorated African American World War II veteran. On February 12, 1946, hours after being honorably discharged from the United States Army, he was attacked while still in uniform by South Carolina police as he was taking a bus home. The attack and his injury sparked national outrage and galvanized the civil rights movement in the United States. The attack left Woodward completely and permanently blind. Due to South Carolina's reluctance to pursue the case, President Harry S. Truman ordered a federal investigation. The sheriff, Linwood Scholl, was indicted and went to trial in a federal court in South Carolina where he was acquitted by an all-white jury. Such miscarriages of justice by state governments influenced a move towards civil rights initiatives at the federal level. Truman subsequently established a national interracial commission, which did Dick, made a historic speech to the NAACP and the nation in June 91st, in which he described civil rights as a moral priority and did nothing about it. Submitted. I mean, these people. Remember, these people are all in the government. You're gonna have to really take this shit on, and they haven't ever really done that. Yeah, I guess, but they should have been. They should have. I mean, and that. I mean, should it be up to the judges to? I mean, should it be up to the lawyers? Yeah, but that article made a good point about pissing off the judges with this, right? You work in that courthouse with those judges all the time, right? Um, you don't want animus, especially if you can't prove animus. They should have just been disclosing it. This is on the judges. They should have been disclosing it. Such a miscarriage of justice process NAACP, Congress 1948, and issued Executive Order 9980 and 9981 on June, desegregating the armed forces and the federal government. Attack and maiming. On February 12, 1946, Woodward was on Greyhound Line bus traveling to Camp Gordon in Augusta, Georgia, where he had been discharged, en route to rejoin his family in North Carolina. When the bus reached a rest stop just outside of Augusta, Woodward asked the bus driver if there were time for him to use the restroom. The driver grudgingly accepted the request after an argument. Woodward returned to his seat from the rest stop without incident, and the bus departed. The bus. Ugh. Okay, hold on. Oh, good lord. I hate this squirrely squirrel thing sometimes. Attack and maiming. And the bus would return to seat from the rest stop without incident, and the bus departed. Don't do it. It happened again. I'm sorry. Good lord. Attack and maiming. All right. The bus stopped in Batesburg, now Batesburg, Leesville, South Carolina, near Aiken. Though Woodward had caused no disruption other than the earlier argument, the driver contacted the local police. See, and this is what happens. And then the cops show up and kill you. So yeah, people calling the cops on you is a thing, and they should be looked into, including Chief Lynn Scholl, who forcibly removed Woodward from the bus. After demanding to see his discharge papers, a number of Batesville police, including Scholl, took Woodward to a nearby alley where they beat him repeatedly with nightsticks. They then took Woodward to the town jail and arrested him for disorderly conduct, accusing him of drinking beer in the back of the bus with other soldiers. Newspaper accounts vary on what happened next. An account sometimes spelled his name as Woodward, but author and attorney Michael R. Gardner said in 2003, in none of these papers is there any suggestion that there was verbal or physical violence on the part of Sergeant Woodward. It's quite unclear what really happened. What did happen with certainty is the next morning when the sun came up, Sergeant Isaac Woodward was blinded for life. During the course of the night in jail, Scholl beat and blinded Woodward, who later stated in court that he was beaten for saying yes instead of yes, sir. He also suffered partial amnesia as a result of his injuries. Woodward further testified that he was punched in the eye by police several times on the way to the jail and later repeatedly jabbed in his eye with billy club. Newspaper accounts indicate that Woodward's eyes had been gouged out. Historical documents indicate that each globe was ruptured irreparably in the socket. Ugh, wow. The following morning, the Batesburg police sent Woodward before the local judge, who found him guilty and dead. The local judge who found him guilty and fined him $50. Yeah, the judges are also the problem. It's not just the cops. The soldier requested medical assistance, but it took 2 more days for a doctor to be sent to him. Not knowing where he was and suffering from amnesia, Woodward ended up in a hospital in Aiken receiving a substandard medical care. 3 weeks after he was reported missing by his relatives, 3 weeks after this, they essentially kidnapped him, beat him and try. Man, this fucking country really needs to fix itself. And just we're still having this discussion today. Um, Meanwhile, he's missing for 3 weeks. His family doesn't know where he is. Let's read this again. The following morning, Batesburg police sent Woodward before the local judge who found him guilty and fined him $50. The soldier requested medical assistance, but it took 2 more days before a doctor could be sent to him. Not knowing where he was and suffering from amnesia, Woodward ended up in a hospital in Aiken, receiving substandard medical care. 3 weeks after he was reported missing by his relatives, Woodward was discovered in the hospital. He was immediately rushed to an army hospital in Spartanburg. Through his memory, he began to recover. By that time, doctors found both eyes were damaged beyond repair. National outcry. Though the case was not widely reported at first, it was soon essentially covered in major newspaper outlets. This is also why people have issues with the fucking newspaper. The newspaper ignore a lot of this. They play the same game. So before they show up wanting to tell your story and be your, it's just roll your eyes at it. They keep secrets to the bad guy, and they expose the honest good guy to the bad guy, right? Why was this not reported earlier? They didn't give a fuck. Um, yeah, they help railroad people. Life in prison is a thing. Though the case was not widely reported at first, it was soon covered in major newspaper outlets because it got out, and then you had to report on it. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and the ACP, worked to publicize Woodard's plight, and it's also lobbied the state governor of South Carolina to address the incident, which it dismissed. On his ABC radio show, Orson Welles commentaries, actor Orson Welles crusaded for the punishment of Scholl and his accomplices. On the broadcast, which was made on July 28, 1946, Welles read an affidavit in which was sent to him by the NAACP, signed by Woodward. He criticized the lack of action by South Carolina government as intolerable and shameful. Woodward was the focus of Welles' four subsequent broadcasts. The NAACP felt that these broadcasts did more than anything else to prompt the Justice Department to act on the case. In 1988, exhibits on the museum act on the case. Wrote the Museum of Broadcasting in 1988 and an exhibit on Welles. Orson Welles was an extraordinary person. He was an extraordinary person. Really just amazing person. Musicians wrote songs about Woodward and the attack. A month after the beating, the calypso artist Lord Invader was a prominent calypsoian with a very distinctive gravelly voice. Recorded an anti-racism song for his album Calypso at Midnight. It was entitled God Made Us All. With the last line of the song directly referring to the incident, later that year, folk artist Woody Guthrie recorded The Blinding of Isaac Woodard, which he wrote for his album The Great Dust Storm. He said he wrote the song so you wouldn't be forgetting what happened to this famous Negro soldier less than 3 hours after he got his honorable discharge in Atlanta. Good Lord. On September 19, 1946, 7 months after the incident. Sounds familiar? 2 years for 6 months for Arbery. Like a year for what's a young man Isaiah, uh, who they jabbed a needle in his neck and killed him. I keep forgetting his name. All of a sudden, I'm craving General Tao's chicken. Okay, we've been streaming for an hour 45 minutes. This thing is going to be over in 15 minutes. So I'm going to go get some Chinese food, which is a rarity, but we're going to get some. On September 19, 1946, 7 months after the incident, NAACP Executive Secretary Walter Francis White met with President Harry S. Truman in the Oval Office to discuss the Woodard case. Gardner writes that when Truman heard this story in the context of the state authority of South Carolina doing nothing for 7 months, he exploded. The following day, Truman wrote a letter to Attorney General Tom C. Clark demanding that action be taken to address South Carolina's reluctance to try the case. 6 days later, on September 26th, Truman directed the Justice Department to open an investigation. A short investigation followed, and on October 2nd, Schul and several of his officers were indicted in U.S. District Court in Columbia. It was within federal jurisdiction because the beating had occurred at a bus stop. on federal property at the time. Woodward was in uniform of the armed services. The case was decided over by Judge Julius Wattenberg Waring. I have a lot of respect for judges, but man, when just like I have a lot of respect for cops, but you let some of these people sit there forever and they become arrogant and stupid, and then they go to Congress. It makes me fucking crazy. By all accounts, the trial was a travesty. The local U.S. attorney charged with handling the case failed to interview anyone except a bus driver, a decision that Waring, a civil rights proponent, believed was a gross dereliction of duty. Waring later wrote, being disgusted at the way the case was handled at the local level, commenting, "I was shocked by the hypocrisy of my government. It's submitting that disgraceful case. Defense did not perform better." When the defense attorney began to shout racial epithets at Woodward, the defense attorney began shouting racial epithets at the witness and the victim. Waring stopped him immediately. During the trial, the defense attorney stated to the all-white jury that if you rule against Shull, then let this South Carolina secede again. Due to disenfranchisement from the blacks in the South, they were also excluded from juries. After Woodward gave his account of the event, Shull firmly denied it. He claimed Woodward had threatened him with a gun and that Shull had used his nightclub in self-defense. Really, a stick over a gun? During his testimony, Shull admitted that he repeatedly struck Woodward in the eyes. On November 5th, after 30 minutes of deliberation, 15. But see, those people knew that the Klan was going to visit them if they fucking found them guilty. 30 minutes of deliberation, 15 according to at least one news report. The jury found Shull not guilty on all charges. Despite his admission that he had blinded Woodward, the courtroom broke into applause upon hearing the verdict. The failure to convict Shull perceived as a political failure by the Truman administration. Shull was never punished, dying in Batesburg on December 27, 1997 at 90 fucking 5. Woodward moved north after the trial during the Second Great Migration, which got my family out of the South, and lived in New York area for the rest of his life. He died in 73 in a Veterans Administration hospital in the Bronx. On September 23rd, 1992, and the shitty judge outlived him. He was buried with military honors at the Calvary National Cemetery, Section 15, Site 2180, in Galveston, New York. Wow. What can you say? What can you say? All right. What can you say? It's maddening. It's maddening. It's freaking maddening. All right, this is where we're going to end it. I'm going to go get some General Tao's chicken. And call it a night. I want to thank all of you for stopping by. I want to thank you, William, for coming through. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel, helps me. And we'll be here tomorrow, 6:30, to talk more politics. So come on through. And we're here every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 6:30. And we're here Sundays at 7:30 a.m. So come on through. I want to thank everyone. Thanks for hanging out, man. I want to thank everyone who watch. What do the kids call them? Lurkers, right? People who watch but don't say anything. Trying to see if you dig the show. Is this a show? I don't know what it is. We went through this a couple of months ago. Is it a show or a program or series? I don't know what it is. It's a pod. I think it's a pod. It's 8:30. I need to work on a meal, and I think General Tiles is it. We've been streaming for an hour and 50 minutes. I want to thank everyone who came through. Let's cut this off. And let's properly wave goodbye. Bye, everybody. And I'll see you in the next one. And the next one is tomorrow at 6:30.